This is our project on which I think we were working. Okay, so we had written the code for login, do login, and after login we had diverted the logged in user to store home controller index action. Now at the first step we should make sure that this action and this controller should be accessed after the login. So can we access it directly right now? Yes, definitely we can, because it's not authorized. So we have to implement authorization. So we need to implement the authorization here. So if I in hook store home slash index, so we are able to access it. Welcome to store. So I do not want to this. I want to force the user to access this particular control action only after login. And how we can do that? So we can do that by creating the custom authorization filter. So we'll create a custom authorized filter here. So we'll say add. For custom authorized filter, I'm adding one folder. So we'll say add a folder, something called cust filter. And the cust filter, so I'll right click here. So I'll say add. I'll add a class. And we'll say something called, we'll say store auth. In the store auth filter, we'll inherit it from the authorize attribute. Let me check. Okay, and we'll override a method on authorization, and here we can write a code. Now if you look at the login code, so in the login code what we had taken care is we had taken care that whenever user get logged in, so we are creating one variable in a session. Now this admin ID variable will be get created in a session only when user is logged in. Only when user is logged in. So I'll just copy this and then in the store auth on authorization, we'll say if, and in this if we can check whether that session has that variable. And how we can access a session here? So we can access the session using a filter context. So also filter context here dot http context, and we'll say session dot admin id if it is equal to null. So by chance if this admin id is null, so when this admin id is null for the user who is accessing your web application, that means user is not logged in, because this admin id will be get created in the session only when user is logged in. So here from we'll divert the user to manage stores do login action. So manage stores do login action. And if you want to divert to user to a specific controller specific action, we use a method redirect to action, and redirect to action method can be used if the return type of action is redirect to route result. So we need to create an object of redirect to route result, and in that object we need to specify the controller and the action, and then it will divert you to that particular controller, that particular action of that. And how we can divert here, because there is no return type available here, so it's void. So for that we'll use the filter context, and filter context has a result property. Now this result property allows to store the result of authorization, and what is the result you store here in this result property for the authorization, that result will be executed. So that result will be executed by the authorized attribute of that, and in this result we'll write one object of new redirect to, so you can say route result, and in this redirect to route result will pass a route value dictionary, and in that route value dictionary we can pass the name of controller, name of action here. And for route value dictionary we have the system.web.routing. So we need this namespace system.web.routing. So I'll use here using system.web.routing here. And what we can do, so we'll create object of new, we can say, we'll create object of new, we can say something called route value dictionary. And in the route value dictionary we'll create a normal object, anonymous object, and in that anonymous object we'll pass the name of controller, that is called manage stores, and name of action. So in the name of action, so we'll pass something called do login. So name of action that we pass here is something called do login. So it will divert you to do login action of a managed store controller. Now what we do, so we'll apply authorize filter on every controller that you want to access after login. So I'll go to the area store. So what are the controllers that will create in the store? So on those controllers we'll apply this authorize attribute store auth, and here we'll include its namespace, and that's it. Now what we can do, if we run this, and if we try to access the store home index, so it should divert me to manage stores to login action. If I try to access this stores and store home index, now it's expected that it should divert us to a do login action of manage stores controller. Okay, it's diverting us, but it's searching this manage stores do login inside the store area. So we need to tell the auth filter there is no area for this, and how we can specify that. So I'll say area equal to blank. So when we specify the area equal to blank, that's we are telling this do login and manage stores is not the part of area, it's in a root controller folder. Now if we run this, and after this if we call store home index, so now it's diverting us to login. So when you call store home, so it's diverting us to login of that. Now if you do the login, so if I click on the login here, so if I entered the correct user ID password, so it will take me to the store home slash index. Now I think password is wrong, so let me check. Now it's saying a wrong password again. I think I forgot the password. Let me check in database. Oh sorry, here is the spelling mistake that we have. So it will take you to the store home index here. But I do not like this design, so I don't want this design. Okay. So I need to redesign this. So this will be the dashboard for a store admin who will manage his activities. Fine. So I don't want this design. So what I'll do, so either I can create the design from scratch. So creating the designs from scratch will take a lot of efforts and time. So at the end what will happen, so you'll end up with just creating the design and you'll not get time to code the application. So what we can do, so we can use pre-built bootstrap templates. You'll find a lot of bootstrap templates online. So if you go to the Google and if you search for the bootstrap template, you'll get all the templates here. So I had downloaded two templates here. Let me check these two templates. I'm just copying this in the project folder. So I'll say training data, and here also something called class demo, and here we'll have the online store app. So I'll paste it here. So I downloaded that. So if I go to the Google, so if you go to the Google and if you search for we can say Google, so we can say something called bootstrap admin template. So free, you'll find a lot of free, some are paid, that depends on your requirement. And you can go to that site, you'll find that template. You just download those templates. A lot of free templates are also there, paid templates are also there. So you can just download it as per your requirement, whatever you suitable, and then you can use it. Fine. So I already downloaded, so you'll find a lot of templates here. So you can download any of this as per your requirement, whatever the suitable for your requirement. You can download it here, and you can use it. So I had already downloaded, so I'll use the downloaded template. So for the backend, for the dashboard, so I'm going to use this nice admin template, and this nice admin template will look like this. If you open the index file, so it will have a menu on the sidebar. It has a name and some options here. So we are going to use this for the admin, store admin, as well as for the dashboard of the user, or we can do the dashboard directly also, no problem. Now here, and for front end I'm going to use this template, so gift web. So we'll have this gift web template. So I downloaded this for the front end. So we are going to use this for the front end to sell the products added by the store. Fine. Now, so at the first step I need to configure this template. So you need to study this template. So what is there, what is not there. Now to study the template, you can open that template in Visual Studio, and then you can study it, what is available there, what is not there. So if I open this login page, you'll find login here. So this is the login template for Nice Admin. So you can use that login template. So I'm just opening that particular thing as a folder that is provided by the template. So if you want to use this, you can use that. Now for that, you can study what is there, what is not there in this template. So if I go to this, you'll find all these pages here. So if I go to login, so that at the first step I want to use the login. So I'll go to login here. So if you go to login here, so you'll find some HTML here. So it has some tag. Now if you look at, it's using some icon file, it's using some CSS files here, and then it has a body, and then it has a container. In the container it has this login form. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this HTML, entire HTML tag to our login screen. So if I go to here in views, and here we'll say something called manage stores, do login. Now for time being, what I'll do is I'll keep the existing code as it is, and I'll paste this HTML above this. So I copied and pasted the code from the login screen here. But is it going to work? No, it will not work because this is referencing some CSS in the JavaScript files. So you also need to add those CSS and JavaScript files to your project of that. So which files it's using? So it's using bootstrap.mean, theme, icons, some more CSS and responsive.css. So we need to use this particular files, and these files will be definitely available here. So if you look at to the template, so you'll find all these files here. So we have these files. It's also available in a file system. So here, sorry, and I just want JS. I want images, font, CSS. I don't know what is there in assets. Let me check. Okay, so in assets it have few files here. Okay. So at the first step, I will get only these 4 folders. So CSS, fonts, image, and JS. Now I'll copy this, and inside MVC project. So in the MVC project, I'll create one folder called the backend assets. We'll add a folder here, and in that folder, I'll say something called backend assets. I'm creating one folder here, and the backend asset I can paste it here directly, or you can go to the file explorer and you can paste it here. Now I'll find all these folders here. Okay, but if I drag and drop any file from this, and if I put it here, now if you look at here, the path is different. So previous path, if you look at it, it's just having css slash bootstrap.min.js. Now it has tilde slash backend assist slash css. So what I'll do, so I'll just copy this and I'll change the paths of all these files here. So I'll put it here, then I'll put it here, then I'll put it here, then I'll just copy and paste it here. So I'll change these paths as per the new folder structure or new path of that. Then I'll keep everything fine. So I don't want this farm. So I want to use our we can say MVC farm. So I'll just delete this farm, and instead of this farm, so we'll get our farm. So I'll cut this farm here, and I'll paste this farm here, and we'll cut this here, and we'll paste it here. Okay. Now that one additional div, I hope. Oh, sorry, not additional. So it's parent div. Now second thing that I want to do is, so I want to replace this input by our input, or if you want you can continue with that input, but I want to replace this here using we can say editor file, and I'll paste it here, the editor file. Okay. Now in the editor file we'll have the HTML. Let me check. Okay, we'll do it later on. I'll tell you how to do. Now second thing, I want validation also. So I'll get this validation here below this immediately for time being. Later on if you want we'll change it, and we'll say editor from, and we'll remove this input and we'll replace it by our code and validation message file. We'll put this validation message for here, and one more thing that we need to put is we need to put the validation summary, or we can put it at the top of this, or we'll put it here. You decide where you want, and as per that you can put. Now let me replace this with our submit button, because we need a submit button. So we'll have the submit button. Now I'll add this class on button, and if you want to keep the sign up you can keep it. I do not want that, so I'll just remove this because there is no sign up for store admin. Now second thing, we need to add these files in the beginning for the validation. Now we do not need to add the bootstrap. Why? Because bootstrap is already available here, so we do not need a bootstrap right now. Once we copied and pasted this, we'll remove this, and let's run this to check how it will look like. Okay, it's looking like this. Now it's not expected behavior, so there might be a possibility that we are missing something. Now the first thing that we'll check is console. So always check the console. So it's just saying icon is not found here. And now, so what we do, so we'll delete this username and the password field. Your password we had already deleted. We forgot to delete the username. I'll refresh this. Okay. Now then, there is one more thing that we forgot to apply here. So what is that? We had deleted the form tag, but we forgot to apply the CSS of the form tag. Now here we have a class of the form tag that is called login form. That's why this UI is getting disturbed here. And to apply that, we need to submit it to do login. Then we need to submit it to manage stores and form method post. Then we can specify the HTML attributes, and an HTML attribute will apply the CSS class. So which class we want? We want this class. So login form. Okay. Now I'll save this and refresh this. Okay. Now it got at right place, but still the look and feel is not expected here. Now why this is? Because uh, then this input has it should have a named parameter. Okay. Now to get the named parameters, I'm not able to remember it. So what we can do? So we'll do something here for a time being. So I'm doing something here just to understand how to pass that HTML attribute parameter here. So I'm just creating the create form for login VM. So it will generate the code for okay. So here in editor file, if you want to pass HTML attributes, so we have new keyword, then we need to create an anonymous object, and in that anonymous object we need to pass this HTML attribute, and I want that HTML attribute here to control the look and feel here, and I want that form class here, form control class. Also I want that form control class here. Now let's run this. Okay, so I think we need one more curly bracket here that I forgot, sorry. And I placed this at the wrong place. It should be here. Now run this. Okay. Now I'll check with the icon, and for time being, if I remove this, oh sorry. Now it's actually look expected. I'll keep this here. And on this div, suppose if we apply one more class, input group. Okay, and we'll have suppose a class input dash group, and here we'll say Okay, so we're getting a store admin login, but it's creating a gap. Okay. Or what we can do, we can have a span, or say store admin login, and we can apply the class read or alert success. Okay, and we can have a class a text class center. Okay, it's now sending us to the center. So you can do the decoration, whatever the decoration you want to do there. Let me check. Now here I am checking this CSS and what I want to apply, sorry, what I had already applied here. So I'll go to the inspect of this, and here what we can do. So we can H over this, so it will highlight the element. Okay. So this text center is not working here. Fine. So text center is not working here. Let me check the item center. So this is also not working. Okay, now what we do. So in span, if we apply the width, I can try here. Or say block. Okay, so it's not going to work here. The only option that we left is we can use embedded CSS. We can also use the embedded CSS. Style will say padding dash left, and we can say 200 pixel, and font dash width suppose 800 pixel. 800 not pixel. Okay, so it's working. Now it's shifting it, but so we'll make it 80. Or I hope 60 is more than sufficient. And instead of success, suppose we'll say info. No, let's go on. Whatever decoration that you want to apply, you can apply here. Okay. Now then, I'll keep this blank. If I click on this, it will say email ID required, password required here. Now if I put the invalid user ID and password here, so waiting for localhost, I think. We'll apply the breakpoint. No. So it's showing you invalid email ID, password. Perfect. Now I'll go for the login. Okay. Now this is the problem. Okay, this is not a problem. This is our problem. So what we did is we had added that UI here. So I'll add this again, and I'll say empty here, and we'll say something called welcome to admin. Okay. Now this view having only welcome to admin title here. Now here also something called admin and admin. Welcome to admin. Okay. Now I want this UI to be configured in admin dashboard. So this index. Now if you look at here, so I want to continue this top bar and the side menu on every page. So I want this sidebar and the top bar on every page, and this content I want to change as per the requirement of the page. So I want to change this as per the requirement of the page. So for example, if you go here, so this page is getting changed, but other part this and this remains same. So to do that, I need to create a layout, and I'll put this inside layout. So this and this I'll put in layout, and here I'll put the render body. So if I put the render body here, so the page content will be loaded here and this will be available in layout. So we already have a layout file inside our project to that. And to get this code, so at the first tab, I'll open this index.html template file here. And from this, what I'll do, so I'll copy this entire HTML, okay, and I'll paste this entire HTML in the layout of admin. So here we already have layout file. We go to layout, and in this layout, so I'll just replace this HTML by this HTML, okay. Now as usual, the next step that you need to do is, the next step that you need to do is you need to change the path, because now this file is in a backend asset, and here we'll get that backend asset /backend asset dash css dot bootstrap dot me dot css, like this. So I'll just copy this and I'll say /backend assets, and we'll have this. Now I'll copy this here and I'll paste it everywhere where we are referring a JS file or a CSS file or an image also. If you want to work with that image, then we can replace this, sorry, we'll append this to the image path also. So I'll put it here, then we'll put it here, then we'll put it here. Then we'll put it here. We'll put it here. Again, we'll say put it here. Again, we'll put it here, and we'll do it for the same. Now I'll not change anything here, so I'll go to the bottom of the page. Now you should remember that in templates you'll find some references at the bottom of the page also. So check at the top as well as bottom. Otherwise you will make the changes in the top and you might not find the expected output, and then you may get stuck. So what is happening? Now here, so check at the top as well as bottom. Now if you do not need any of the few of the files from this template, you can delete those files. So right now do not have time to do that. So what I'm doing, I'm using all the files here. Now but it's expected, so you can delete the unwanted JS files if you are not using the charts or if you're not using a calendar. So you can exclude those files. You can delete those references here from this layout. Okay. Now in the next step, we'll scan this HTML little bit. We'll try to understand this HTML little bit. So how we can understand the HTML? So by collapsing the tags you can do. So if you look at here, so it has a section tag. Now in the section tag it has the ID container, means this will be container for everything. So entire HTML is included inside this tag. Now if you look at here, so it has a header tag, that means this will be a header. Now if you look at here, we have a side tag, that means this is a sidebar menu, and this is our main content. Okay, now in the main content, if you look at here, so we have the dashboard and a bar at the top, then we have the row, and in that row we have the sections. So I'll keep this bar as it is, and here I'll replace all this by one div, and here also div class. So let me check. I hope. First, let me check here. So 3, 3, 3, and 3. That will be 4 times 3 means 12. So I'll create only one div here, and I'll say class call dash md dash 12, and here I'll put the render body where I want to render the content of the body, and I want to delete entire this, or we can say column, and I want to delete this entire row. I don't want these rows here, so I'll delete those rows. Okay, and even I don't want this. If you want, you can keep it just to display the name of a page, but name of page will appear from the page, so we also do not need this row here. Okay, now if I go to the store home controller, and if I say add view, and in this add view, so if I say empty and use a layout, so it will use that layout file. Now after this, if you run this and if you see what happens here, so here we'll see something called, if I try to access store home and index, it is expected to divert me to do login of a manage stores controller. Here I'll do the login here. I'll say login. I'll find your dashboard. So your store admin dashboard like this. You'll find a nice admin in all this. Now you keep whatever you required and remove whatever you do not require. So for example, I want to change this nice admin to store admin. So I'll go to layout and I'll check it in a header. So where we have this nice admin. So I will change this to store. So it will become store admin. Then I don't want this search box, so I'm just removing this search box. So if you save this and refresh this search box will be get removed and it will get you the store admin. So if you want to remove all this, you can remove. So if you want to keep this, you can keep. So if you want to remove some options, you can remove. And if you want to keep some options, you can keep some options from it as per your requirement. Now here I'll remove this all notifications bar and I'll keep last drop down, and from that drop down, suppose I want to have the only profile and logout option. So other option I want to remove, so I'll say profile. So I'll remove this timeline chat and I'll remove the documentation. Now here we'll have only my profile and the logout, or to the my profile. So we can say change password. Okay. So if you want to remove this name of Jennifer Smith, and if you want to show the logged in email ID, that also you can do. So, but for that, what we need to do, so we need to go to login screen, sorry, login action. In the login action, we'll create one more session variable. We'll say admin email support, and in admin email, we'll say adirect dot. Or if you want name, you can get the name also. So I want a first name. So I don't know, in admin we have the first name. I think we do not have the first name, so we have. I think it's just first. Okay, so it's just first, and we'll say admin email instead of admin email, so it's admin name. Now what we need to do is I'll just copy this, and I'll go to layout, and wherever we have the Jennifer Smith, so we'll just remove this and we'll check at rate if this not equal to null. So if it is not null, then we can display it here. So how we can display this here? So we'll just say this one, or we'll say something called at rate. So not at rate, we'll directly display it, and here we'll say not equal to null. So if admin name is not equal to null, so what we are doing, we are just displaying that name. Now if we run this, now if I go to store home index, And if I say
Hello.
okay, so it's complaining us expected semicolon somewhere. So what we do here, we'll say something called at the rate, and we'll have suppose colon. We'll set at the rate here. Or what we can do, so we can do one small change here. We can say span, and that is more better option. So we'll set at the rate here. We'll say span. We'll find the admin here, and then change password logo. Then the next step what I want to do is I want to
Hello.
convert this forms menu to a configure menu. So where you'll find that? That you'll find in something called a side menu.
Hello. Sir, can you hear me?
So here you'll find a site,
Hello.
and here we have the form. So I'll convert this form to a configure, and then
Hello.
in the configure I want to add options. So main
Hello.
category, and the product like this. So I
Hello.
want here a main category,
Hello.
and here so I want to have the category. If I save this, if I refresh this, so it's a configure, and we'll have the main category in the category option here. Now when we click on this, I want to perform the CURD operation of a main category,
Hello,
and
sir.
when I click on the category, so I want to perform the CURD operation of the category. On. Now for that, I will go to the store controller, and in the store controller, we'll say add and controller. And while adding a controller, I'll select the option MVC5 controller with views using entity framework. And here also I'll add something called a model main category table. So model class main category table. Context class, I'll use the context online stored entities. Generate views, use layout pages. Now if you want to do the validation, you can select this. Right now I'll not worry about the validation, so I'll make this main categories. So here if I say main categories control, so I'll just copy this and we'll add. So it will create everything that is required to perform the CURD operation of the main categories. Okay, so it will have this. Now where I'll go, so I'll go to layout. In the layout, so I'll just remove this anchor tag, and instead of anchor tag we can add action link. So this action link will say index action of controller name main categories. That is the controller name that we have. Now let's first test this, and then we'll do the CURD operation for category also. I'll do the store home index. Now here also I had made a small mistake here. So first will be always a text. First parameter will be a text, and second parameter is the name of action. Third parameter is name of controller. Now here also main category. Now if I click here, so it get me the list of main categories. Right now there is no main category, so I'll say create new. So it's saying creating main category here. So I'll put suppose electronics. Okay, so it's showing a different kind of problem. I think there is a problem with data type of main category. So I selected nchar 10 by mistake. I don't know how. So we'll make it varchar max or varchar 50. Now if you change the database in a DB first, what we need to do? So we need to go to the ADMX file, and in the ADMX file, so delete all the tables from the ADMX file. And we'll just update here. Now it's the tables here. And we'll just save. Now if you run this, now let's suppose now let's create new. So this will be get created here. So you can create as much as you require. Okay. You can delete, you can go to details, you can edit. Okay. Now if you want to make changes, you can make the changes inside the UI. So what we can do, so if I go to this, so it will generate everything here. So create, edit, delete, views. So if I go to the index and here, so I want this to be the button, so I'll say something called new. Okay, so it's not applying the class. Let me check why. Okay, next parameter that we need to pass is null. So pick up the proper overloaded method, so null comma HTML attribute with the create new. Like this, you can also make these buttons. So if I cut this here, So you'll find all these buttons here. So those changes you can do as per your requirement. You can go to the create, and if you do not want this, you can say you can remove this create main category. You can put, and if I do not want this h4, so I'll remove this. I want this back to be the button. I'll put it here. This NBSP will put the space, no blank space. So if I say null here and we'll say new class equal to btn dash or danger, whatever you want. So you can also make the changes in this auto generated code as per your requirement. So you can say create, you'll find the back button, create main category, fine. You can go to the back here. So you just change the CSS as per your requirement and it will work. There is no problem at all. So index we can say main category list. Main category list. Fine. Now similar way we'll go for the category. So I'll create the category code here. So right click here, say add a controller. MVC5 control empty. Oh sorry. Not empty. We'll select MVC5 controller with using entity framework. So I'll say category and then we'll change the name. So you can also keep the default name, no problem at all. But I'm changing this. I'm saying categories controller. So we'll add again everything for category. Now here, so if I go to layout, so I'll say categories here. And we'll say category. We'll run this. Now here we'll say we'll have this. Now I'll say category. So you'll find the same UI here. Okay. Now it's expected that this category should have a main category box. The main category drop down, but it's not appearing. Now why it's not appearing? Let me check. Okay, so we need to add a main category as a foreign key inside a category because this category will appear under the main category. So we'll go to design here. So we haven't implemented here in database. So I'll say main category ID here. I'll say begin and I want it to be the foreign key. So I'll go to the relationships here. I'll say add and here I'll say something called main category ID. So I'll say main category ID here. We'll say main category ID and we'll save this. Okay. Now what we need to do then? We need to regenerate this. So we'll regenerate it. So how we can do? So we'll add here a controller and this one. So we'll say category here and we'll say categories. We're saying already available. We'll just say store home index. Now this is something called. We'll do the login here. And here we'll say category. Now if I say new category, so It's expected to get this, but it's not getting. That means we forgot to update the model. So I'll update the model here. We had made a changes in database and we need to update this. How I'm updating here? So I'm not updating only one table. I'm selecting all of them. I'm deleting it. Right clicking on it and we'll say update here. And I'll select all of them. Now I'll say save. Now we need to regenerate this again. Now here we'll say store so I'll go to category. I'll say create new. Still it's not happening here. Now why so? Let me check. So first I'll check this create action. Okay. Now it's not updated here. Let me check in the entity framework whether the category got a foreign key here. Main category ID non-nullable and virtual main category ID. So main category table. Okay. So database end is perfect. Now what we do, so we'll remove the categories again and we'll try to regenerate it again. So we'll say add a controller. Now let's try to check in code. Okay. Now it's generated. Now how I can understand here, so it got the viewback property for the main category. Viewback property for the main category. Sorry. I'll go to the configure. Now we'll get this step down automatically here. So also suppose TV. On shop TV we'll say home appliances. Or we'll say industrial spare part. electronics. Now suppose here we'll say desktops in computers, laptops in computers. Now suppose here I want database in the books, and here we'll say programming in books. We'll add few more categories of men's and clothes. Whatever the category that you want to create, so you can create them. Now in the next step, I think after main category we have a product. We go for the product here. Okay. Now let's create a controller for our product. Same way. So I'll use the product table, and here I'll make it products. And we'll create action link in a layout for the products. Now here we'll say products. We'll say products here. Now run this. Google products here. So I'll get you this, create new. Now if you look at here, so we have the product name, manufacturer name, price, product description, photo, image. But here also we forgot which category this product belongs. So that we forgot in database, so we'll make the changes in database here. We'll design of this product, and here we'll add a category ID as a foreign key. Now go to relationships here. I'll add one relationship here, and we'll say category table, category ID, and we'll say category ID. Then we'll save this. Then we'll go back to the project. In the project, I'll delete this products controller, and here a products folder, and I'll go to the entity model to update it. So I'll remove this. I'll right click here, we'll say update model from database, and we'll select this. Now I'll save this. Okay. Now I'll regenerate. Now we can check here relationship if you want to check. So if I go to the product table here, I'll find the category ID foreign key and the virtual property for the category. So I'll recreate the controller for the product. We'll right click here, we'll say add a controller, and we'll say empty controller, and here we'll say product, and here we'll say products controller. Now here, so what we can do is we'll run this and we can check it, and here we'll say admin, and here we'll say configure products. We'll say create new product name, manufacturer name, price, description, product image, but category is still not available here. Now why not? Let me check. So it haven't generated it. So we need to regenerate this. Why this is happening? We'll rebuild the project. Now I'll create a controller for the products. Again, why? Because it's not generating the foreign key. Or you can manually add it. If you want, you can add manually, no problem. But I want to keep it simple and save the time. Now if you look at here, so we have the now still it's not appearing here. Also we got there. Now we got here. Now let's run this. Now I'll go to something called store home index. This admin here. Now if I go to configure and the products here. Now let's check. Now we got the category here automatically. Now there is one more change we want to do here. You can also reduce the size of these boxes by setting the call span for the columns. Now one more thing that I want to do is I want to upload a product image here. Now to upload the product image, so we cannot input the path here, so we need to browse the image. And to browse the image, so what I'll do, so I'll go to the create form of the product, and in the create form, so here we have the editor file. So I'll remove this editor file and I'll put here input type file, and here we'll put a name. So we'll say product image, or we'll say suppose p image. We'll keep different name, so we are not using this name, so we are using a different name. id equal to image. We'll save this. We'll say refresh this. Now I'll find the browse button here. Now we can browse any image if you want. Fine. So we can go to any image here and you can get that image. You can get any image, whatever the image you want. Okay, will be selected. But next thing, so this image need to be stored on the server, and to store this image we haven't made any arrangement in database. So in database we had created a field only to store a path of image, that is called image photo. Sorry, product image. So product image is a column that we have in database where we'll just store the path of the image. So product image here. So we store the path. It's not a good programming idea to store So it's not a good programming idea to store It's not a good programming idea to store the image in a database. Now instead of that, what we do, we store image or we upload the image in some folder and we store the path of that image in database. Okay. So this is the right way to work with the images of there, because retrieving the images from a disk is very fast as compared to database. We can store the image in database, but retrieving the image from database is very time consuming process. Your application will become very slow, tremendous slow. So instead of that, we can put this on a disk and we store the path in database. So to upload this file, so we need to make few changes in a form tag. So step 1, so your form should be able to upload the file. So your form should be able to upload the file, and to upload a file from a form we need to add one NC type attribute, ENC type attribute in a form with its value set to multipart here. So data dash multipart. So the first step. So we want to upload this image from this form. So at the first step, we need to add one attribute. So if I put the form tag here, HTML form, so we can add the ENC type attribute and it should be set to multipart form data. So this attribute should be on a form tag if you want to upload image from the form. Now how we can add this attribute to this form? So the first thing that we need to modify this name of action, name of controller. So name of controller is products, and a form method, and in the form method we'll specify the post, and here we'll add HTML attribute, and in HTML attributes we'll say NC type attribute, and we'll just copy this and paste this here, no problem at all. So once this attribute is get added on a form, so this form is capable to post the file. Now when this form posts the file, so that file will be posted inside your action with this name, image, and we need to capture that file. And to capture that file, so your controller action should have one parameter, and we remove this bind attribute that is auto generator of that, and it should have a parameter of type http posted file base, and this posted file base is a class in MVC which will help you to hold the file, and this parameter name should be exactly similar to your input type name. So input file type name, so that is pimage. So your file will be available in a pimage. Then we need to upload this file to some folder. So I'll create here a folder inside a project. So I'll add a folder here, and we'll say something called product photos. You can create this by any name, whatever the name that you want. So I'm creating it with the name product photos. So your file will be uploaded to this product photos folder, and path will be stored in database. Now here at the first step, we'll check if image dot content length is greater than 0. So if the content length of the image is greater than 0, that means there is an image available here. Fine. And then we can get its path. So we'll create one variable here, string path, and we'll store here, and we'll say path equal to. So how we can get the path here? So we'll get a path from image dot file name. Okay, so it will just get you the file name. So we want to create a path. So how we can create a path? So it's a tilde slash path is product photos. So this is the folder, and then we'll have the file name that we want to upload here. So this will form the path. So product photos. Okay. So product photos, fine, and the file name. Now we'll say something called pimage. So pimage has a built-in method called the save as, and the save as method will pass this path. And to make this rooted path, we'll say server.map path. So we'll use the map path method and we'll pass this path. So this map path method will convert it to a rooted path or physical path, and we'll save that file. Now once this file is saved, so in a database we'll update this part. We'll say db dot, sorry, product table. So product table dot, we'll say something called, not necessary here, so we'll do it here. So we'll say product table. So product table is this object product tbl, small product table dot, it will have the we can say image, product image, and in this product image, so we'll put this path. Fine, so I'll put this path. So before saving, it will add that path to this object. Then this object will be added to a database of that. But there is one small problem here. So when we use this path in HTML, so when we use this path in HTML, so we do not need this tilde, because in a server code we need a tilde, and in HTML we do not need this tilde. So to remove this tilde before storing the path, we'll say path equal to, we'll say path dot substring. So we'll use the substring method of a string, and we'll say start with a 0. So we start with a 1. So start from first character, leave the 0th character, and get entire string up to the length. So up to the length minus 1. So the length of the string is something called 10. So it will skip the 0th character and it will go up to length. Suppose we'll go up to length of the, not the minus 1, length. So it will remove the tilde from the path and then it will store it in a database. Fine. Now we'll put the breakpoint and we'll check what happens here. So if I run this, now I'll go to this to home index, sorry. Now it's admin, this admin here. Now I'll go to the products here. Now I'll say create new, and the product name, suppose if I say mouse, manufacturer suppose Logitech, price is suppose 450, and product description is suppose 3 key or scroll, and here we'll say choose a file. So right now I do not have the images, right images. I will upload some dummy image. So if I say ionic for the mouse and it's in the computer, so desktop suppose. Now I'll say create. So it will appear here. So at the first step we check the p image. So p image is get bound here, and we got the image slash png, and we got the angular ionic png and all this. Now we'll press the F10 key. So we'll have the substring. Now length must be 0. That means our previous logic was right, that we need to put the minus 1 here. So we'll say admin, and here we'll say something called now also create mouse, now here, okay. Now this product will be saved here, fine, but it's showing the path. Now instead of this path, so I want to show the image. So to show the image, so what I'll do, so I'll go to the index action of the product, and in the index action, so here it's getting the product image, so I'll remove this. I'll say image tag, and in the image tag will say @temp dot image product image here. Sorry, item dot product image, and we can have the width support 40, and we'll say height something called 40. I'll save this and we'll refresh this. So that's the ionic image here for the product. Now suppose we add some another product, suppose laptop. In manufacturer it supports HP. Prices supports this one. We'll say something called multimedia. We'll choose the product image. So I'm just selecting some image randomly. And if I say laptops here, if I say create, if I run this, read the laptop image here, and database will have that path. I'll create few more products. Suppose if I create, suppose C# programming, and we'll say manufacturer suppose. Oh, sorry. Here we need to put the author name, so BPB, and we'll say price of 550. I'll say description, complete programming book. Now if I let me check whether there is an image for the C#. No image. We'll upload some different image, no problem. So we'll put it in the books. Oh, so we'll say programming. We'll run this. It will appear here. Okay. Now, similar way we can create. Now, if you go to details, so in details also it will show the path. So instead of path, if you want to show the image, so what I can do, so I can go to this create and whatever, sorry, index, and whatever code I had written in the index, I'll just copy that code and I'll paste it into details here. So in the details we have the product image here, and details shows if I increase the size. If I refresh this, we'll find the photo of that particular image. Oh, sorry. Now this should be model, not the item. Okay. So the ionic. Now if I go to details, it will get in the HTML image. Now if I go to details, we'll go to the web core API. Okay. Now in edit also, we need to make arrangement, small arrangement here. Now in edit, I want to show the old image and browse the new image. So I'll go to the edit here, and first I'll show the old image here. So I'll create a div. I'll say class form dash group. And here we'll say something called label. We'll say old image. I'll say div. And the old image, so we'll paste this here, and we'll say model here, and for new image we'll do the same thing that we did in the create. We'll get the input type file, and here I'll say select new image. We'll say label, And we'll change one more thing here. We'll add this attribute into the farm. And here we'll say instead of create, we'll say edit here. Now I'll say refresh. So it's showing the old image and select the path, but its alignment is not proper. So we'll say call dash md dash 10 here. Okay. Now I'll keep it here. Okay, so old image and so we'll say object of 4. Okay. So it's having a class control label and then call dash md dash 2 on this. Okay. So select new file, choose a file. So we can select the file and we can upload. But what we forgot? So we forgot the backend code. So we go to the product controller and then we'll go to the edit. Now we need a similar kind of arrangement in edit also. So I'll just copy this. And here we'll put this here. I'll remove this bind attribute because I want to bind few more things also, that is this file http posted file base, and it will be of type p image. Now I'll make a small arrangement here. So inside if we'll put the path, we'll say product table dot so image. So if the new path is available, then and then it will store that path, otherwise it will keep the old path as it is. Okay. If new path is there, then it will add the path. If new path is not there, then it will not add that path. So I will run this. This is store home and this, and here also admin. Now here we'll go to the configure, we'll go to the products here. Now if I want to edit this web API image, if I select another image here, So we'll say 40% off. This is save. Okay. Now there might be the problem with the code. Let me check. So I'll edit here. Now I'll select this. Okay. Image is available here. Okay, it's showing the path. Okay. Now let me inspect. So it's saving the path, but oh, now we need to encode it, but forget it. We'll change the image. There's some problem with the image. Select another image. So we'll save this. Now we are getting right image. So edit code is perfect. Now we'll add few more products here. Suppose we add your TV and we'll say TCL prices. Suppose we'll say something called 4K HD whatever. And we'll select the image for the TV. So right now I don't have the images, but so for images so we put the Angular and we'll put it into home appliances create. Like this you can add the products, you can edit the products, you can get the details of the product here. Then the next step, so I want to do the logout to the change password in admin. Now to do the logout and the change password here, so we'll go to manage stores controller and we'll have the logout here, HTTP post or get, no problem at all. So action result, it's a logout. The logout will not do anything special. We'll first clear the session. Whatever there is in the session, we'll delete it. And then we'll say something called session dot abandon. So remove the session. Okay. And then redirect to a login action. So we'll say do login action. So it will divert you to login. Or if you want to show some page, you can show some page and you can show you can logged in, logged out and all this. Now I'll call this action from layout shared and here, oh sorry, some in the wrong layout, so it should be in the area. You'll find the logout option in the header, this one. And if you want, you can put the URL directly here, or you can create action link. So if I put the URL, so this is something called manage store slash logout. So it's login, logout here. So it will delete the session, it will terminate the session, it will update the session with that. Now it will go to login. Now similar way, if you want, you can implement the change password, but I'll not suggest you to implement the change password outside. So in store, we'll create a controller and we'll create an empty controller here. And what we do is something called, we can say store profile suppose. And here we'll say change password, action. So I'll say HTTP get. I'll create a view model for the change password. So I'll go to the view models folder. And we'll add a view model here. We'll say change password VM. And we'll create view model here. The first thing that we need to create here is old password. Then we need to create new password. And then we need to create confirm password. Submit required. Error message. Now it's not showing the help directly, so I'll say something called old password required. And here also required. We'll say error message. New password required. And we'll say confirm password required. And we need a compare. So we'll say new password and error message. New password and confirm password are not same. So what is the error message that you want to display? You can put here. Okay. Now we'll use this to create a UI. So say add view. So say create. And for a view model change password. It's not the part of context, so we'll remove this. So we'll say use layout. Okay. Now in this view, what I'll do is, so I'll go to the login view here and I'll copy these files for the client side validation. So if you want to do the client side validation, or you can keep these files in a layout of this user, then this validation will happen on every UI. So I do not need this because jQuery might be already included somewhere. No, it's not available here. Then we'll say jQuery validate and jQuery validator on this bootstrap. there might be the possibility that this JS file is available at the bottom. So jQuery.js. So I'll just comment this. I do not want multiple jQuery files as well as bootstrap files. Or cut these files and paste it at the top. Okay. Now then, when we hit the submit button here, so when we hit the submit button, so it will submit it to HTTP post version of this. And here I will say something called again a change password. And we'll say change password VM rec. Now here we'll do the model validation. So if model state dot is valid, so if this is valid, so model state dot is valid, what we can do is we'll try to find a user using this ID and we'll validate his password, and then we'll change it. So first we'll find the user. So how we can find the user? So we need a user ID. So where from we'll get the user ID? From a session. So this session has admin ID, I hope, that we are stored while doing the login, and I'll convert it to N64. So first find the record of the admin using this ID. So for that we need the entities object here. Fine. Now, so here, so we need to get this. I'll get this entity dot admin table start single or default p implies p dot admin id equal to id. If admin rec dot password equal to rec dot old password, then it's fine. We'll change it. Else so first we'll change it. So how we can change it? So you can change it to something called admin rec dot password equal to new password, and then we'll say something called admin rec dot save changes from entity dot save changes. We'll have this. And if this is the case, then what we can do is we'll say something called model state dot add model error, and we can have here so invalid old password. Or if you want to show that at the place of old password, you can pass the old password here. And in all this situation, we'll go back to a view and we'll carry the view. And if you want to log out the user, you can log out the user and you can tell the user to relog in. Fine. Or you can just show the message password change. Loopback dot message password changed successfully. And here from we'll say return a view. Fine. And or instead of adding this in a model state, you can also add it in a view back. So invalid old password. Because we need to show this view back. So here we'll say div and we'll say class alert dash info and we'll set date view back dot message. I'll run this. We need to link this in the layout to the change password action. So we'll say store home. So what we have, store profile slash change password. Now it's admin here. It's admin. Now it's admin and we'll say change password. This is happening. Let me check. We forgot the name of area here. Now we run this again, entire process. Now I'll have the admin here, admin again. Alright. Now if I say create, it'll say requires old password support. If I put ABCD, we need to forget to apply the data type. So say create, it's saying invalid old password. If I say admin here, if I say create, so password change. Fine. Now two things happening here. So the first thing is we need to go to a change password view model and we need to apply one attribute data type and we'll say something called data type dot password. I'll just copy this and I'll paste it here also. And here also. Okay. Now second thing that you might not notice, but the jQuery version that we had added here is not compatible with the layout script, so I'll delete that. And this is also not compatible. So I'll delete these two files and what I do, so I'll cut this jQuery file. I'll paste it here. And a bootstrap file, bootstrap.js. So if you want client-side validation to be done, so this file should be at the top in the head section. I'll run this again. Now here I'll go to the store admin. Sorry. I'll go to the admin here and we'll log in. Oh, sorry, email ID. That's not getting because we had changed the password to ABCD. So I'll do it using ABCD. Now it's getting logged. Now still this menu is not working. That means there is some more issue with jQuery file. Okay. Now it's working now. Okay. Now this menu is not working means we have some issue with this script file. So it's saying jQuery popper is not a function. Okay, no problem. So we had put this jQuery here and bootstrap here and we had used the validator on abstraction, no problem. Let me check by mistake whether any file get commented. No file get commented, so it should work. Okay, what we do, we'll go to the control Z. I just remove this here and second thing that we'll do is we'll do these two things are here. Now let me run again. Menu is working. Change password is also working. Okay. Now in the next step, we'll go towards the user. Okay. Now in the next step, we'll go towards the user. So we'll what we'll do. So we'll give a minute. क्या करना है ब्रेक देना है कल करना है मेरी तकलीफ में टिफिन नहीं लेके आया हूँ मेरे को घर जाना पड़ेगा या फिर